1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'm 8.
Picture you're at dinner with your family, and it's just a normal everyday night, and you're eating meat. Okay. What if I were to tell you that meat had MRSA in it? And MRSA is an antibiotic-resistant staph infection, or staph illness. And according to the Transitional Genomics Research Institute, 47% of all meat in the country has MRSA in it. And that counts for about 1,800 deaths and 100 life-threatening sicknesses. And my topic today for my speech is on the USDA and how they should revise their current safety laws for meat production. And the USDA is the United States Department of Agriculture, which regulates meat and poultry all over the United States. Personally, I've done enough research on this topic to give information to you and hopefully learn something. Reasons for listening to my speech, I guess, is you're educating yourself on different things that not a lot of Americans know about. Not many people really know what's in their meat and what they're actually consuming. And then you're going to be able to share info with other people. I'm going to go through the problems with meat processing, the causes of those issues, and solutions for them. Okay. And after kind of getting an idea as to how dangerous this issue is I'm going to kind of go through the problems further. As of right now, eating meat is causing a lot of health issues. There's a lot of bacteria that is found in meat, like E. coli and salmonella, and they cause a lot of illnesses like food poisoning. Meat eaters are a lot more common to get food poisoning than a vegetarian would. And salmonella is a very big issue because of all of the meat companies not really following regulations and having their meat in really bad, deplorable conditions. There's just bacteria that's building up and it's getting transferred to everyone else. And in August 3rd of 2011, the USDA announced a recall on about 36 million pounds of ground turkey. And they did that after a person died and hundreds of others were sick because of that. And they knew about that whole contamination in 2010, so they didn't do anything until a year later. Another issue, or other illnesses that are coming up, are that it causes cancer and heart disease. It causes cancer, heart disease, diabetes, have all been linked to meat consumption. And according to the lead study, Arthur UT Nothlings, people who eat meat or use processed meat or eat that constantly have about a 67% increased risk of pancreatic cancer. And researchers from Harvard School of Public Health found that eating one serving of meat just a day, just processed meats like hot dog, sausage, deli meats, whatever, is associated with a 42% higher risk of heart disease and a 19% higher risk of type 2 diabetes. So the meat you're actually eating or consuming every day is really harming your body. Meat as of right now, because of, I guess, what they're putting or giving these animals, is becoming drug resistant or antibiotic resistant. So when you eat meat, you're taking in all those antibiotics. And when you're sick and they give you those antibiotics to fight whatever illness you have, they're not working. Because you already had them in your body is getting used to them, so they're useless. And besides having antibiotics in them, they're using different substances on those meats, like sodium nitrate, which is a color fixer, and that basically makes your meat red. Whatever meat they have that's been processed isn't naturally red like that. They make it look that way to kind of get more people to buy it. And sodium nitrate is a cancer-causing agent, and it's a very harmful cancer-causing agent. And it accelerates production of cancer cells in your body. And nutritionist and author Mike Adams said that sodium nitrate is a dangerous cancer chemical that shouldn't even be in human bodies at all. And that kind of chemical is found in sausages and hot dogs, jerky, normal things that everyone eats. It's found in everything. And In 1970, the USDA tried to get rid of it. They tried to take it out and whatever, but they would actually shut down. The meat companies wouldn't let them because they said that they wouldn't be able to sell any of their meat if it was actually naturally the way it's supposed to be. And instead of getting rid of it and finding a better solution, they added more chemicals to it. They added citric or ascorbic acid to it to kind of stop the cancer cells from growing. So instead of making it healthier, they made it worse. And everyone knows as of right now that antibiotics are being put in meat because animals on those farms are getting sick. So they just stuff them full of antibiotics to kind of keep them alive, make them bigger, make things go faster. And the problem with that is there's no limit on how many antibiotics they can put in a cow. They can put as many as they want, and they don't have to tell you what's in it or what they're actually putting with it. So people can get sick, especially if someone's allergic to penicillin. They can have that in their meat, and it can end up killing them. And in 2009, reports showed that 80% of antibiotics that were used in the country were used on livestock, not people. And that's about 29 million pounds of drugs just for animals, because the places where they live aren't healthy. They're in deplorable conditions, they're in their own feces, they're not being taken care of at all. So they're getting so sick that they're just pumping them full of drugs to kind of help them. And in all honesty, the USDA regulations don't work. They're not being enforced. Their policies are basically useless because no one pays attention to them. They have a policy called HACCP, which is Hazard Analysis Critical Control Point, and it was intended to modernize the meat packing industry basically, and what it ended up doing was it discouraged USDA regulators and inspectors to not actually tell on a company if they have different bacteria in there. They would basically be told to ignore it and let the meat company deal with it. And that whole policy told the meat company that they had to personally check their meat, and the USDA wouldn't do it anymore. And we all know that the meat companies would rather make money than actually look at their meat. So they only check maybe 10% of all of their animals. And if their animals actually do have any kind of illnesses, they would still send them out. And the USDA actually says that even if it's 46% infected, they can still send out that meat regardless. The reasons for all of these kind of issues is the fact that companies really violate the regulations that they have now. They don't pay attention to them, they work around them, they'll find different ways to make money and speed up their production instead of following the USDA. And the fact that production will move too quickly in a plant kind of affects it too, because the workers will be doing whatever they need to do, but they're doing it so quickly that they're not actually taking the time and the care to make sure that they're being safe and not infecting food. A lot of workers will cut themselves and get blood in meat, and they'll still send it out. Plus all those animals are infected, they have cuts everywhere. It's just not a really safe environment. And the USDA and inspectors, they really fail to notice all the warning signs of different outbreaks. And according to the Philadelphia Inquirer, months before a beef plant in Colorado triggered an E. coli outbreak, different USDA investigators told them that they were having E. coli issues, and there were things found on different carcasses, and they gave them dozens of reports over and over about this, and they were going to actually do something about it, but they decided not to, and they decided to let the company keep going. Well, that caused hundreds of people to be sick, and it killed a 3-year-old girl because they didn't do anything about it. And people don't realize the USDA really doesn't have authority in anything. It can't do anything at all. What it's really supposed to do, it just can't actually enforce it. They can't issue fines towards companies if they do anything wrong. They can't close any plants down. They can only advise them on how to deal with outbreaks, and they can't actually order any recalls. And if there is a recall, they can't tell you or anyone else where infected meat is. So if an outbreak were to happen, they can't tell you what supermarkets they sent that meat to. So they're basically not even doing anything. Solutions for all of this, I would assume, is to change those policies, enforce them, make them more stricter, get the USDA more involved instead of just sitting by and letting everything happen. A lot of people are dying, a lot of people are getting sick every single day all over the world because they don't do anything. And inspectors nowadays are being told not to do anything. They're being told to ignore it, let everything go on, see if anything happens, kind of just let it go. And that needs to change. Also for anybody, like just in everyday, because it's hard to change those policies, I'm sure, but it's easier for everyone just to be a vegetarian and not eat meat, or eat free range, because those free range animals aren't pumped full of antibiotics, they don't have any kind of preservatives in them or anything, depending on where you get them from. And it's all around healthier. Meat really isn't the greatest thing to eat, at least not now, because of all the things that are going in them. And what I said before, if, like, think about you're eating family with your dinner, or like, no, eating dinner with your family, sorry, I can't talk, and the meat you're eating and feeding your kids is hurting them a lot. You don't think about it, but it really does take an effect, and it's killed a lot of children. A lot of families have been really taken aback by it, and they don't realize that normal foods that you eat every day are really killing you slowly. And I mean, we basically know now the different reasons why the USDA needs to change and what's going on and how to do everything. So, thanks. Any questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
Is it safe to say that cooking the meat makes a difference in killing the bacteria?
It does make a difference. I know with different like E. coli and things like that, it does make a difference, but you have to cook it at a certain temperature. And if you don't reach that temperature, you're still eating E. coli, regardless. Like it has to be a pretty high temperature to knock out that bacteria. And even then, do you really want to eat meat that has E. coli in it in the first place?
If it's seasoned right. What is pink slime? Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah, pink slime nowadays. It's I know they take a preservative or something or an additive out of meat, and they add it to normal beef as like a filler, and it's cheap, and that's why they do it. And it's really not good for your health. It's basically just eating. I don't know if you were to eat plastic mashed up. That's basically what it is. Healthy for you all.
What's MRSA?
MRSA, or I didn't MRSA. MRSA's a really bad staph infection.
It eats your skin.
It eats your yeah, that form does, but in food I think it's different. But hockey players got it a lot, football players got it a lot on their skin, and it transfers through touch. It's not just through food. So if you have any kind of MRSA on you, you can give it to anybody else. But it's in food more and more nowadays instead of on skin. It's not good for you at all.
Someone should tell that MRSA not to eat our skin because it's all loaded up on antibiotics and stuff. It's probably not good for it.
Probably not, but yes, Bryce.
I have a question.
Yes.
All right, so with all these problems, the U.S. government or the USDA, I believe you kids call it, they can't impose fines or sanctions upon these companies. So there's been some rumors of privatizing the meat inspection industry. Do you think that these problems would be remedied by, in fact, privatizing that sector?
I feel like that is becoming a really big issue. I feel like the USDA is kind of being controlled by other people, and it's not really doing its job for those reasons. They're being bought out. They're being, told by the government to not do anything. They're probably being threatened. It's a lot of different things, but it's hard to change that. But if it were to change, I feel like it would make a very, very, very big difference.
So you think privatizing it, having one company in control of the inspections, would actually do something?
I feel like it would, but if you think about it, plants now, there's only about 4 companies that run all of the meat in this country, and that's about it. So even they can't control what their meat's doing. Like, they can't control every single plant on their own, and it's clearly become really bad. So I feel like privatizing might make it worse. Or
no, privatizing may make it better because they would have to enforce the rules.
If they're the right people.
The problem now is that the beef companies have lobbyists
Yeah, that's what I'm
that
saying.
help
Yeah.
to make the laws